I'm here with Howard Skora, the author of the new play called Gaslight House, which is at the Whitefire Theater in Sherman Oaks starting this weekend through June 4th. And right now I want to talk about the ADL and what's happening in Ukraine. And as I remind you, single tickets are now available in Orlando and Tampa, single VIP tickets, single general admission tickets. And for the rest of our schedule, too, we're now making single. You don't have to buy 4 tickets or 6 tickets or 8. You can buy one single ticket to come see a live Jimmy Dore show. Go to jimmydorcomedy.com for a link for all the tickets. And so we've told you that Ukraine has a lot of Nazis baked into their military officially. It's not, they don't try to hide it. They're groups of Nazis. The Azov Battalion is one of them. And there's lots of Nazis that are embedded in their government also. And so that's not a Putin talking point. People think, oh, Putin says that as propaganda. No, that's for real. And go look at our other videos. We've documented it. It's not a little problem. It's a big deal. And now the ADL, which is the, I always forget what ADL, Anti-Defamation League.
Anti-Defamation League, yep.
Got it. Anti-Defamation. I always want to say American something.
It's anti-defamation.
That's right. Got it. So the Anti-Defamation League. So, and they are primarily there to defend people from anti-Semitism. Am I wrong? Isn't that what the ADL?
Yeah, that's their whole shtick. That's what they started as. It was
and the Jewish organization, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that's why this is ultra ironic, because the ADL is defending Ukraine neo-Nazis. They, quote, don't attack Jews or Jewish institutions. So that's how corrupt the ADL can be.
Well, as a Jew, I'm relieved to hear that. That they're the good kind of Nazis. I'm so glad they're distinguishing that. They're the safe kind of Nazis.
You can't.
That's why they're neo.
Can you get crazier than this, Howie? I mean, as a Jewish guy, did you ever think you would see a day where the ADL?
They didn't teach us about good Nazis in Hebrew school. They really didn't. They said Nazis, bad.
That was that.
Nazis, bad. Very simple, easy lesson.
The Anti-Defamation League, the leading pro-Israel lobbying group in America, published a Q&A defending Ukraine's neo-Nazi groups on the grounds that they don't attack Jews or Jewish institutions.
Well, maybe they're not good at their jobs. What can you say?
Maybe they're lazy. They're just going after who are they going after mostly? Just the gypsies? Who are they going after?
I honestly wouldn't know how to be a Nazi that doesn't go after Jews. It's just like it takes so much off the to-do list.
Well, they've been going after the Russians in the eastern Ukraine and the Donbass. That's what those Nazis in Ukraine have been doing. They've been shelling them for 8 straight years, and they've killed 14,000 civilians, which is what led to the Putin's invasion. So
it's just really off-brand. It's just really off-brand. That's all. In
an article titled, "Why is Putin calling the Ukrainian government a bunch of Nazis?" the ADL interviewed David Fishman, a professor of Jewish history at the Jewish Theological Seminary, to explain why Ukraine's neo-Nazis aren't so bad. There are neo-Nazis in Ukraine, just as there are in the United States and in Russia for that matter, but they are a very marginal group with no political influence and who don't attack Jews or Jewish institutions in Ukraine. He's really doing this.
It's so strange to hear that Nazis are marginalized in that country. Because when you think of marginalized groups, you definitely usually don't mean Nazis.
That's right.
Like, you just don't. But they're marginalized.
And that's a lie. They're not marginalized in Ukraine. The Nazis are embedded right in their government. Their National Guard, they have Nazi battalions, the Azov Battalion. We've showed you this over and over. Mainstream news has written article after article about this up until we wanted to overthrow the Ukrainian government, which we did. The United States overthrew the Ukrainian government, and now they have a Nazi problem in their government. And that's not made up, but this is whitewashing it, this guy Fishman. Russia has for years highlighted the activity of marginal group of Ukrainian ultra-nationalists as a way of trying to stigmatize all of Ukraine. No, Russia hasn't done that, you liar, Fishman. You know who's done that? Every Western media outlet has also reported on the Nazi problem in Ukraine, embedded in your government, embedded in your military. Not individuals, but entire battalions. Go ahead, Howie.
Well, can't we call them a clique? Like, aren't they? They're a clique.
They're a clique.
It's just nicer.
Yes, some members of these ultra-nationalist groups have used Nazi insignia, made Hitler salutes, and use anti-Semitic rhetoric, but they are politically insignificant and in no way representative of Ukraine. That's all fact. That's not true. None of that is true. Go ahead.
Well, what's a little swastika here and there on your Twitter? Like so judgy.
The political parties, which the ultra-nationalists support, received just over 2% of the vote in the 2019 elections. Ukraine is a flawed democracy, but unquestionably a democracy and in no way a Nazi regime. Okay, they're not really a democracy because we overthrew their democratically elected government, and now their president has shut down all the opposition media and banned the opposition political parties. So to call it a democracy at this point is a big stretch.
Fair enough.
Ukraine neo-Nazis are the good type of neo-Nazis because they're funded and armed by Israeli billionaires.
There you go. There you go.
There you go. Profile. Who are Ukrainians' far-right Azov regiment? The far-right neo-Nazi group has expanded to become part of Ukraine's armed forces, a street militia, and a political party. So what is the Azov Regiment? Azov is a far-right, all-volunteer infantry military unit formed as a volunteer group in May 2014 out of the ultra-nationalist Patriot of Ukraine gang and the neo-Nazi Social National Assembly group. Both groups engaged in xenophobic and neo-Nazi ideals and physically assaulted migrants, the Roma community, and people opposing their views. Here it is, winning hearts and the PR war, but Ukraine has a Nazi problem that NATO and the United States do not talk about. That's from February 2022. The cartel of Western nations, who is otherwise swift and prompt in condemning anti-Semitism, look the other way, nay, openly arm and encourage fascist groups with neo-Nazi leanings. If that helps them in thwarting their opponents and reasserting their hegemony. So they'll get in bed with literal Nazis if it helps them politically. Commentary, Ukraine's neo-Nazi program. There it is from Reuters. When is this from? This is from March 2018.
That looks like the Tiki
that looks
Nazi march in our country.
Yeah, it looks like what happened in what was that? Charleston.
Yeah, it looks almost exactly like a exact replica.
Here's Time Magazine getting in on telling you about the Nazis. Like, share, and recruit how a white supremacist militia uses Facebook to radicalize and train new members. The Azov Battalion inside Ukraine's white supremacist militia. That's frickin' Time Magazine. So again, this isn't Putin propaganda. These are facts reported in the news. But right now, if I talk to my old college roommate, he's going to tell me that, oh, that's Putin. I said, well, they're in bed with Nazis. He goes, Jimmy, that's what Putin says. Yeah, Putin also says the water is wet. That doesn't mean it isn't. That's how propaganda works. If I ever want to see how propaganda works, all I have to do is call my old roommate. Here's Rokana. Ever since the Orange Revolution began under President Bush, the U.S. has been complicit in the rehabilitation and spread of neo-Nazis in Ukraine. This is a congressman who is now arming those same Nazis. That's why this is important, because he tweeted this out before in 2018, before we knew that the United States wanted to overthrow Putin and do a proxy war in Ukraine. That's before. So before he was able to tell the truth about it, Rokana no longer tells the truth about Ukraine. He's a lying imperialist. Enough is enough. Our government must stand up to the Azov Battalion and other fascist groups. So that was him giving you a head fake and letting you think he was a decent person who was also a progressive politically who wanted to fight against Nazis. He doesn't. He wants political power for himself, and he'll use whatever track that'll get it for him. And right now, before it was standing up to Nazis, now it's arming Nazis. So whichever way the wind blows, that's the way Rokana is going to go. Because he's a politician. That's what they do. They're all like that. They don't have morals or character or ethics. The neo-Nazi problem in Ukraine is just Russian propaganda. There they are. And guess what? This is the ADL. This is what Ben and Jerry's decided to stop sales of ice cream in the Palestinian occupied territory to protest Israel's occupation and brutal oppression of the Palestinians. We are disappointed by this decision from Ben and Jerry's. You can disagree with policies without feeding into dangerous campaigns that seek to undermine Israel. Yeah, that's the whole point. You're trying to put an economic hurt on Israel's government so that they stop oppressing the Palestinian people. That would be the whole point of that. Like you guys are all doing now to Russia, like you all did to Libya, like you all did to Iraq, like you all did to Syria, Afghanistan, Yemen, any place you don't like the people. I love this tweet. It says, ADL, well, they're not Nazis.
Exactly. They're not the bad kind of Nazis.
Yeah. ADL says, the Ukrainian neo-Nazis ain't all that bad once you get to know them. So that's how bad it's gotten that now the ADL, the group of Jews.
I don't feel very defended by the ADL right now as a Jew, that they're telling me there's certain kind of Nazis that are okay.
There are certain kind of Nazis that are okay. Apparently, you're not a good Jew, I bet.
I'm a terrible Jew.
Terrible
really
Jew.
Bad at it.
Hey, we're doing our live stand-up tour. We're going to be in Orlando. We're going to be in Tampa, Columbus, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, much, much more. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all the tickets. And you can come see our shows in Los Angeles, too. We do one weekly. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com and become a premium member while you're there. Get all the extra content. Thank you.